Well, I've realized now these videos are very long, and they've got to be done in a way that people can see what they are without sitting there and watching the video for an hour and a half. So I've got an idea, and this is a sampler to go through and say, this is what the video is, and if you want to watch it, you watch it. I'm going to load this flower up right here, and I'm going to clean up around it. I'm going to separate the flower away from the background. And in here you see the different tools. I'm using a path tool right now. This is a path tool. But when you're cleaning up a background, removing a background, you kind of use whatever you can work. Now this one right here, I just used a select tool. And that select tool came close enough to the edges that I didn't have to use a path tool. And to show a difference here I'm going to start out. Here, there's just a plain brush doing it. But I'm going to use a select tool here. A path tool, I mean. Here's a path tool. Select the whole thing out. Now if I were to go up here and hit delete, I have to back up to my original point and hit delete and it'll be gone. Or I can use my select tool and just select it and erase it. I do have to be careful when I'm erasing it though that I don't get areas inside of here. I'm sure I didn't get those areas. And again, that path tool, the path tool is nice in some areas, and that big select tool works okay in some also. And when you get an area like this, you have to kind of think, well, what should be behind that? Do I get rid of all of it or a part of it? And again, you get rid of all of it. Then you get a rough outside edge that you have to remove. You just take and draw around it, and you delete it. And you'll wind up with your image in the very middle. Now you might want to take and just to check it, click and see where the transparent is and make sure that there's nothing there that you don't want. Now you take that image, copy it, paste it, and once you copy and paste it, you can paste it and save it as a stamp. So now it's a stamp. Now as a stamp, or as an image, you can change the hue and saturation. And as you see here, by changing the hue and saturation, you change the basic of the plant. When you change the hue and saturation, you want to change the color of the flower, which is that magenta, and that's how I could do that. Now I'm going to take and try to turn it into a stamp-like item. It's not going to work as well as I really wanted it to, but it will work as a stamp. If it were to be used like that as a stamp, it wouldn't come out real well. You've got to take it and use it for something that you can color in. Now, if you notice, I've got the top layer. Here's the top layer, but I'm painting underneath the top layer. And I had selected only the area inside of here. That way, when I paint, I don't go outside the edges. That's all I can paint is what I've selected. But this is just showing how you can do it. I get into no detail on this. There's different kind of brushes you can use in different ways you can try to paint it and smear it and stroke it. And there's all kind of different things to experiment with. Basically, that's what I'm showing. But here I'm just going to paint that in as a blank thing. Put a little bit of green in and almost have that, what do they call it? Almost like that Monty Python sort of a look to it is what I wanted to do. A solid color with a little bit of green in. And it's a whole different effect than if you're trying to do a flower. You see it's going to be a kind of a, as a matter of fact, the whole thing is going to turn into a kind of a Monty Python sort of a drawing is what I decided I wanted to do here. And there's the clouds in the background. All I needed was a foot, but I don't have a foot. So let's see what I've got here. I can cut this guy out. I'll cut him out and I'll put him in there. And And this is a real quick summary. They're like a 7-minute summary. The video itself is hour 14 minutes long, and it shows all this stuff in detail how to do it. But I think I'll start doing my videos like this, a summary, and then I'll have the long video. So you can watch whichever one you want. If you really like to learn about the Gimp, you watch the long. Otherwise, you can watch the short and get the idea. And I took and cut that woman out there. I'll paste her on top. And I thought I would just do different shades for fun between what's overlapping on the flower and what's in the sky-like background there. And I'll find another image in here. There's something just to stick another image in there, made in USA, and I could set him behind the boy in the corner. And everybody likes star-looking things, so I think I'm gonna wind up with a star in here. Mail art, people like mail art too. So if nothing else works, you always turn it into a stamp. Somebody will like it then if it's a stamp. Make sure you stretch out to the edges. And this is just the image I'm making. Now, as soon as I start this, my letters are in black to make them stand out. I got to put a white background behind it. Down below, I'm going to do them in white. Now I have to put a black background in to make it stand out. And this is going to be my thumbnail too. You know, I would like to drop a shadow, so I take that top part and drop a shadow behind the U.S. Post Office and 15 cents. And it's going to wind up being a thumbnail, so I've got to write the Gimp tutorial on top of it. And on this one here, when I made this, I outlined it in yellow and outlined it in black and thought it would be good enough, but it wasn't. I had to, before I actually used the thumbnail, I had to put white behind everything. But you won't see that in this video here. And people like stars. I'm going to put a star around this woman here. You take and make the star looking thing, then you have to take and cut her out. You take the image of her, and I'm making a black mask to use. And I did it real quick, so I've got to do some touch up on it when it's finished. But then I could take that black mask and choose it. So I choose the black mask, and when I selected it and I removed the yellow, it made her stand out in the background. Now I'm going to cut her out and I'm going to put her on top of everything. That'll let me try to clean up those edges a little bit. See there, I'm actually underneath her when I smeared it. Now I go up on top and I can clean up around those edges. There are several ways you could do that. I just fooled with it this way here. It's not necessarily the best way, but it worked. Now I want to take and stretch it out so I can use it for my thumbnail. And that's the end of the video.